Hello, everybody. My name is Rick Napier, the president at 321 Biz Development, website 321bizdev.com. And today is December 3rd, 2024, just about 22 days before Christmas. And the purpose of this podcast episode is to launch um, the 321 BizDev system along with some of my colleagues' businesses to help small business owners do better in 2025. And like I mentioned on a previous episode, and this is not a political statement, it's an economic statement, but the recent election has caused a lot of business owners to be energized. In other words, they feel that they can do better in 2025, and they're just asking all these questions. I'm starting to see bits and pieces and anecdotal type evidence and steps. People are calling, people are emailing me for the first time in years with the kind of like the sentiment that they want to do better in 2025. Now, I am not alone on today's podcast episode. I have a good friend and a colleague from like 4 years ago. Her name is Jaylene Rodriguez, and she's going to be a guest, and she's going to play an integral role in helping small business owners. So, Jaylene, how are you doing in South Florida?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for asking. South Florida right now, probably for a lot of people, it's not that cold, but Florida is everything I've ever known in my entire life because I've never seen snow, so it's pretty cold. Pretty cold for me.
Exactly. So, I want to thank you for joining in this launch. And what this launch means for small business owners is myself. I've been the consultant as an independent consultant for about 10 years, starting in 2014, November 1st to be exact. So we just crossed the 10-year mark, heading into the 11th year mark. And I first started when I identified some sales challenges, even in my own business in insurance and real estate. And it wasn't until I faced the truth about how, although I knew my products and services very well, I was stumbling on five front end sales activities. And those five front end sales activities are contacting, prospecting, setting the appointment, closing, and getting zero cost referrals. So I hope all of those items are very motivating for people who are listening to this episode. But I want to start by with the part one, which is steps to preparing yourself to successfully sell anything. And I do mean anything. And for some people, you can probably add how to interview with an employer successfully. And this comes from, again, 12 years experience in corporate America, but corporate America didn't really help me like I thought it would. It really didn't, and it probably doesn't help other people who have previous corporate experience in sales, because working as an independent when you don't have the big brand name behind you, like, if you have Apple behind you, if you have IBM, or if you have Disney, a lot of potential customers, they recognize that brand, those brand names, and a lot of times they in their mind they can go, okay, that's a great company because I know about it. And here is Rick or here's Jaylene, they're talking about the big brand name that we've known for 20, 30, 40 years. So therefore, we're likely to buy from that company. But when you're an independent, a state of planning attorney, um, a dentist, a floor tiler who sells high-end floor tile, um, let's see what else, a plastic surgeon, or any business that's out there selling big ticket items at $1,000 or higher per transaction. If you don't have a big name, and most small business owners don't, it can be challenging to move your product and service. So, Jaylene, what I like to do is start with the first one, and please chime in if you have any questions about these first four steps. These are the first steps that I can identify on how to successfully sell anything. So, the first one is do not focus on yourself. And the reason why I use that one as the first one, because your prospect, either on the phone or if you meet somebody in face-to-face setting, they can detect when the sale, your interaction with them is more about you closing that prospect and getting the money than the prospect benefiting from the product or service. They can tell. They're sitting there listening to you, they're watching you, and they can detect, oh, Rick and Jaylene, or they're really talking about getting this check from me, so they can make a commission or they can make a sale. And I just really want to emphasize that if the goal is to finish the sale successfully, salespeople most must focus on the prospect almost like 80-90% of the effort. That's what needs to be done. You got to focus on the prospect and not on yourself, because those prospects, they can tell. They can surely tell. In fact, sales psychologists have written hundreds of papers, and I used these papers when I was forming 321 Biz Development. They wrote what was some of the feedback that a lot of customers had, in the ones that didn't move forward with the sale, and even the ones that did move forward with the sale, what they learned from all these investigations and research, that the
Right.
customers did not have a great sales experience. They may have purchased the item, but they were like, oh, I had to buy it anyway. This guy or this woman was in front of me, so I bought it, but did I enjoy it? No, didn't enjoy it. So the second step is, do not focus on how much you will make in revenue or commission. And trust me, I've been there. I know. I'm talking about when I was in California, and I'd go back and forth from Georgia, where I'm located now, to California about every 2 or 3 months, and then some other states. But I recall I'm driving to the appointment, and I'm saying, okay, man, if I close this sale, I'm gonna make $2,000. I'm gonna make $3,000. And so I was thinking, well, I have to do a good job so I can make the money. My thought process wasn't, I have to do a good job so that the prospect could feel good about the product or service that I was, bringing to the table. So it's really like a mental exercise. Where are you going to focus your attention in this engagement when you're meeting with someone about your product or service? Are you going to focus on, well, I can make, you're the attorney and you're going, oh, I can make $25,000 if I close this case, or if I help this person with this legal matter? Or are you thinking, man, I got to help, I got to help Juan, I got to help Beatrice, settle this thing in their favor, because they could really use the successful outcome. Does that make sense, Jaylene?
Yeah, I think people prefer sales that is genuine and authentic. They want to have a relationship with you, and they don't just want to be looked at as another number, as another person. They want to feel like the decisions, that they're not going to regret the decision when it comes as far as like buying a product.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way I look at it.
And so people will say, well, how come when people go into like Best Buy and they come out happy? Well, sales psychologists, and there's a great website called 16personalities.com. That's 16, the number's 16, and personalities.com. It has this test, this psychological test that anyone can take. And for the most part, what it says is that there are 16 personalities. And in the context of this podcast episode, talking about successful selling, 1 out of 16, that's like 6.7%. I rounded up to 7. One personality style out of 16 will buy, regardless of how good or not so good the salesperson is. So if the salesperson stinks and the salesperson pushes their product or thinks only of his or her commission, that one person out of 16 will still buy. And the other 15 people, they're going to get turned off and probably not buy. But that one person out of 16, because they showed up at the Best Buy, they showed up at at the Walmart to buy like a big screen TV, and they don't care how bad the salesperson is. The salesperson can be totally rude and could not smile at all and grunt and ignore this buyer, this consumer. And that person will say, I came here for the TV, I came here for the laptop, I came here for the phone, and I'm not leaving without it. But see, you can't focus your business on only selling to 1 out of 16 appointments. That's what I'm really getting at. So let's say if you had 16 appointments booked, that people who said they wanted to hear about your product or service, and you were not focused on that prospect. You're thinking about the money, you were thinking about yourself, you're thinking about, well, I need to get my hair done, I need to get the best suit, I need to wear the best perfume, the best cologne, I need to make sure that my car is like totally clean and with the Armor All on the tires and everything. And you're setting yourself up so that you are the big deal. And when you get to that appointment, those 15 out of 16 people, they feel it. And I do not want to underemphasize this. Prospects are not stupid. They have feelings. And if you're talking to someone who's 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, they have seen bad salespeople all their lives. People selling them roofing products, people selling them siding, people selling them vacuum cleaners, the car dealership. They have seen this over and over again. So here you come with the same thing that they've seen hundreds of times, and they're just quickly drawing to a conclusion. And when they tell you no, it's not always that they didn't want your product. What they really are saying is that the experience that they got from that engagement, from that appointment, from that interview was not pleasing, and that's why they said no. And if you did not focus on yourself, if you did not focus on the revenue or the commission, then that person would drop their guard and say, oh wow, here's a person that genuinely cares about me, and yeah, I could buy the product from anybody, but I'm going to buy it from Rick, I'm going to buy it from Jaylene, I'm going to buy it from Jeannie, I'm going to buy it from Michelle. And that's who they go with. And the most important thing about this is that when they have a great sales experience, they now begin to advertise for you. In fact, one of the training modules that we have at 321 Biz Development says, at the very end, it says, hey, Joe, if you think I did a great job helping you understand this product and purchase this product, would you mind, telling your friends and family about how I help you? That's the short version. There's a little bit longer version that goes into that. And what Joe says, well, of course, this is the best sales experience I've had in many, many years with the salesperson. So they begin to go on their phone and say, okay, I want you to call Mike. I want you to call Raul. I want you to call, Helen, and let me call them for you. See, that's what you want. So Joe's like, Raul, I just finished meeting with Rick and Jaylene, and I just bought this product, and you need to take a look at it. And then the guy Raul was on the phone. He's like, oh, they come highly recommended by you. You say, so yeah, send them over. That's what you want. So what do you think about that, Jaylene?
I think that's really exciting as far as just showing people that they have value and that they matter. And by showing that they have value and that they matter, then they'll naturally just advertise whatever product that you're selling. Like, for example, I know that you're selling Medicare at the moment, and I've been trying to talk my mom into talking with you this whole time. And finally, she's at a place where she feels comfortable having a conversation and see how you can help one another. Um, and that came from me just understanding, what she's looking for and not trying to pressure her into doing anything. I mean, today when I told her that, she was like, "Well, Rick, he's interested in having a discussion with you." And then she said, "Oh, he is." And then she said, "Oh, he is, okay. Well, how can we help one another?" This is what she said. Like, well, like, how is this gonna benefit me? And I said, "Well, you guys can help one another by working together as far as you sending him clients that you have a hard time communicating with in English, and him sending you clients that he has a hard time communicating with in Spanish, and then see where go from there." And she's like, "Okay, well, set up a meeting with him right now."
Yes, your
So,
mother is an awesome entrepreneur. I've seen some of the things that she does on some of the social media sites. She's a natural born person that really cares about people. So I am so
mm,
delighted to have an opportunity to work with her, and you can be the intermediary to help, her and me understand, go back and forth between Spanish and English. And I also want to give you compliments too, because we've known each other for about 4 years, maybe a little over 4 years, and you have always been, you know, open-minded and willing to do what it takes to get things accomplished. And I know that you have a major event coming up. I'll just put it that way. You have a major event coming up, but you are here today looking at, making sure that your family has a bright future in 2025. So I want to commend you on that. And for sure, I definitely want to work with your mother on the Medicare and other insurance issues. So I want to move on to number three, which is asking enough probing questions. And what a probing question is, it's a question to get prospects to discuss their current situations or challenges. Now, to ask the probing question is a total um, opposite of what salespeople normally do. And I think what salespeople, they typically panic. And I'm saying this because I did it. I was panicking. So you're sitting in front of someone that you've maybe haven't established a rapport with, and you haven't even started with square one. Sometimes a lot of salespeople, they don't establish a rapport with the latest person they're going to meet with a week later. So when they
right.
finally meet with that person, it's like lights, camera, action. I know you can relate to that because your
Mm,
fiance is in that business, and the lights come on, and it's time for you to perform. And a lot of times people are nervous. They're like, oh, I'm sitting in front of this person. I'm trying to move this product or service. So let me go to my comfort zone. And my comfort zone is to talk about my product or service. My product does this.
mm,
My service does that. It's everybody has it. It's number one in this. I'm the number one sales agent. I won these awards for 5 years in a row. And the prospect, Jaylene, is sitting there going, they're going, yawn, yawn, who cares? How
yep.
come you're not asking me any questions? So with a probing question, it takes the heat off the
Mm,
salesperson. You don't have to establish some rapport based on your product knowledge, how you dress, how your hair looks, how nice your nails look, and all that kind of stuff. You can establish rapport by getting the prospect to answer questions. And here's the big breaking news. Prospects love to talk about their situations, their challenges, but they need to be asked. So in other words, you would say, "Hey, Joe, tell me about," um, or you would say, "Why do you think you need this product?" I'm very being very simplistic. There's other questions you can
mhm.
ask, or how did you get into this situation where you think you might want to, buy this product? So you ask a lot of questions that begin with how, what, where, when, and when prospects get those questions, they don't answer it yes or no. In fact, you want to avoid what we call closed end questions, questions that can be answered with yes or no. So when that prospect begins to talk, they're talking and they feel good about this. They say, well, Jaylene, this is what happened. I had this business and I spent all this money on marketing. And this is a true story with one of my past clients. I spent $20,000 on this marketing program. And I knew in my gut reaction that I knew it wouldn't work. And after I wrote the check, and then as months passed by, I did not make a single sale after spending $20,000.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, so you ask that person, so how did that make you feel? Oh, I felt so bad because I could have used that $20,000 elsewhere. And you just keep going. And so the psychology behind asking these questions is pretty interesting. And what the psychology or psychologists say is that when people talk, the words come out of their mouths and their own ears hears what they're saying. So the
Mm.
brain has this thing that says, okay, so Mildred, I'm not going to use Joe too much. I'm going to say Mildred now. Mildred, I have a Puerto Rican friend named Mildred. Okay, Mildred is now saying, wait a minute, these words are coming out of my mouth, and the brain is
Mm.
hearing it, and the brain says, wait a minute, Mildred has a problem, and she's talking about it, and the brain actually is an organism that says it kind of analyzes what is being said, and the brain says, oh, this problem has to be fixed, so let's make a decision to fix it. And that's the beauty of asking questions, because when the person talks about their challenges, the words come out of their mouths, it goes back into their own ears, and the brain makes a decision to fix it. And that's how
What
people solve problems.
What about how do you make sure that you don't get to a level where you interrogate people versus basically asking open-ended questions? How do
That's
you
a
make
that's a, matter of
sure
fact
that
that's a great question you just asked. Okay, so when you ask these questions, um, the questions are geared to get them to talk about, and I'm glad you asked that question. The questions are basically you're asking them, I want, let's say, Mildred, you're not telling Mildred this explicitly. What you're saying, Mildred, why do you think, not why Rick thinks or why Jaylene thinks, Mildred, why do you think you need this product? So it kind of like turns the table in a way. I don't want to say it's like a scheme or a tactic, but what it does, it puts the buyer motivation on the prospect instead of Rick or Jaylene being the force behind making that person make the sale. So it's never
mm,
like an interrogation. It's really, hey, it's real casual. It's let's talk about your concerns, your challenges, and for the insurance business and real estate and pretty much any business. And I'll tell you this quick story. The reason why I know this works, and when I say works, again, not a scheme or a tactic, it's it's a consultative session with the person. I'll tell you how I learned about this, even though I confirmed it with many research articles I read from psychologists. There was a builder in California, and my buddy Brian, and we met with this guy, and I had this list, and I still have this list. 11 years still, I have the same sheet of paper. So I said, well, Brian, I'm working on 321 biz dev stuff, but we don't know anything about the builder. He had 200 lots. He was trying to, move these homes. And I said, I got these questions because we need to know what his situation is. Why are these homes not selling? Brand new homes,
mm,
$500,000. So I met with Virgil, that was his name, and Brian and myself. We're sitting in this model home. And so I went through these questions. I started asking Virgil these questions. This guy he was a millionaire. He had all these homes, and he came from a family of home builders in Northern California, north of San Francisco. So I'm asking these questions, and I got the question 10. Now I only had 20 questions on a piece of paper, but I got the question 10. I asked question 10, And Virgil said, stop. I'm like, whoa, maybe that last question was too much. And Brian looked at me, I looked at Brian, and Virgil said, look, I don't care about the other 10 questions. All I know, Rick and Brian, is that you have asked me more questions about my home building business than the stinking Coldwell Banker realtor that I hired to move these lots. See how that works? By me asking these questions, I got him to talk. He told me pretty much the entire marketing plan, the reason why he bought those lots, what he wanted to get out of it, how these homes had so much energy efficient features in them that it was just a great deal for any person to buy these homes. But when I got the question, I finished question 10, he basically told me to stop. He said, this is verbatim. He said, I don't care what your solution is, I'm in. Because you have asked me more questions about my builder community than the stinking realtor that I hired. The realtor that I hired, the broker that I hired knows none of these answers that I just gave you because he didn't ask.
Okay. And in a way, you're like the doctor that's trying to get to the root problem rather than just treat the condition.
See, so you're
trying to understand.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a more holistic approach to doing business.
Yes, and see, you can't see, the thing is, you can't solve someone's problem unless you know what it is. But before I learned this, I would start thinking I knew what the problem was and that my product or service could 100% solve it. Now, that may have been true because of the product, but I disrespected the prospect by not letting him or her talk about his or her challenges or situations. And that's the beauty of asking probing questions. So the last one is quickly move away from memorized scripts by internalizing your communications you have with prospects. So internalizing means you want to put yourself in the prospect's positions. In other words, would you buy from you? So the scripts, I mean, people like what's the script? What's the script? Well, the only script that I like is, hi, Joe, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm calling from this company. I have some questions to ask you to see if my product or service may be a good fit. That's really the only script. I mean, you can maybe add just a little bit more to it, maybe a little bit less to it, but the professional way to ask for an appointment is to say, I would like to ask you some questions, going back to the probing questions section in number 3. I would like to ask you some probing questions to see if my product or service would be a good fit for your company. And that's really all that it takes. That's really all that it takes. So I want to move on to County Canvas, quarterly subscriptions, our latest project. And we're going to have another project probably with an estate planner and another project with a virtual accounting company, like a person that does accounting for like small to medium-sized companies. So Jaylene, how do you feel about those 4 steps to learn how to successfully sell anything?
I mean, it makes the process a lot easier and less nerve-wracking because then the focus is not on yourself. The focus becomes on the prospect, on the person, and understanding what their problem is, and you helping them determine if the product or service that you're selling is exactly what they're looking for. Sometimes somebody could be a little bit burnt out from trying on so many services, and they could end up being more skeptical. So, when it comes to people who are skeptical, I feel like you more so want to focus on building a relationship with them and seeing them as as far as like seeing them as a human that's been burnt and is tired of dealing with people just trying to sell them the product, and then just letting them know the value, helping them see of trying out something different, and if that different is what's going to help them in the long run.
Exactly. That was well
That's the way.
said, and that's
Mhm.
exactly what happens because you know we have to always remember that there are tons of products and services out there, and there would not be a lot of products and services out there if people were not buying them. So the logic is if people are buying the products and services, how can we help them have a better sales experience? Which means how can we help them move through our sales system or the buying process so when they get to the very end, it's enjoyable because they were probably going to buy the product or service anyway. We just
Right.
want to make sure that the experience they had was so great that they don't walk away going, "Oh man, I bought that product or service and yeah, I liked it, but man, I'm never doing business with Rick or Jaylene again." Instead, they're saying, "Man, I spent $5,000 and it was the best $5,000 that I spent because I know this product or service is going to help me. In fact, I want to share the information with my colleagues." And that's when a business is really doing well when they don't have to spend $20,000 on marketing because the people that you served who are happy not just with the product, with the process, with the experience, they're now telling their friends and family and colleagues about your not necessarily your product because some of these products you can buy any place. Like if you can't buy the product from me, you can buy it from Joe. If you can't buy it from Joe, you can buy it from Pedro. But it's the human, like you said, the human experience that we bring to the table that makes that prospect, now a client, very happy. So I want to move to the County Canvas quarterly subscriptions, and this County Canvas project uh, was brought to me from a good friend I've known for 12 years, who used to live in Los Angeles and now lives in Southwest Florida. And the County Canvas quarterly subscriptions, it came to be, first of all, because I was doing digital newsletters for about a year, and I was sending these digital newsletters as a promotional item to help small business owners sort of come out of their shell, so to speak. I mean, if you have a business, you got two different ways, really two different ways you can do it. Generically, you can either stay in your office and let digital marketing do everything for you, or you can come from behind your desk and just tell everybody you can about your business. And surprisingly or interestingly, that's how business used to be done before social media. I think social media, in a way, kind of made it less personable, where people say, "I'll do the digital thing and I'll have to be in a way." But we're human beings. We like interaction, even when sometimes the interaction does not result in a successful sale. We still like the interaction. So the County Canvas was born because my digital newsletter was so appealing to the business owner, and she has all of these technical skills. I mean, this lady that owns Site Market, that's sitemarkit.com, SITEMARKIT.com. She's like this brilliant, taught herself all these techie activities and these tools to help. And business owners, most of her business owners are medium-sized businesses that do a lot of business per year. I mean, millions of dollars per year. So she said, "Hey, what about having a digital magazine that can be a little bit more stronger to the public than a newsletter?" And I'm like, I don't know how to do it. So she came up with a prototype. So there's a lot of economic and marketing points to focus on when we present the County Canvas digital product, and it's a digital magazine which comes in digital form, and it's also a print magazine that you can touch and feel. Now, I just want to say I'm not going to use the word marketing anymore because I'm not a fan of the word marketing. I'm not a fan of that. I just have this thing about that word marketing, but I had to use it once. So let's talk about the economic value for business owners to subscribe to the County Canvas. And that economic value is high. When I say economic value, I'm talking about what is the potential return, what is the potential impact, positive impact, financial positive impact to the business owner who is advertising, who is subscribing to the business, to that County Canvas magazine. It's high because the paper version is sent to real business owners. Now, a lot of magazine publishers, they'll say, oh, we have a subscription rate or distribution rate or number of 20,000 people. That, just between you and me, Jaylene, that may or may not be true. But that's what they
Mm.
claim. So, but we know what our distribution number is. It starts at 50. So people would say, oh, 50, that's low. But it's going to 50 real business owners. So that plumber, that cosmetologist, that dentist who's a county Canvas subscriber, their two-page ad, maybe the front page also, maybe the back page also, is going to real business owners that will be able to get the magazine. They can touch it and feel it and go, wow, look at that. That person is somebody I need to do business with. You see, the thing is that, digital and social media stuff is fine for like the big companies like Apple and Microsoft and Disney and Universal Studios. But when you get down to the small business owner that has like maybe 20 employees or 100 employees, we need more personal interaction. And so these people, these business owners that are receiving the magazine, they will see County Canvas clients, businesses, when they drive down the street. So if you're in Hialeah and you just got this magazine with this law firm in it, and you're driving down the street, you go, oh, that's the law firm that I see in the magazine. Wow, this is a real company. They do real business. So that's the first economic value. The second economic value is through the digital magazine. There's a digital version, and it's high if the County Canvas customer already has a customer base. Okay, so let's say you have a business, and maybe you do this, maybe you don't. And when I say maybe you don't, maybe you have never contacted your current or past clients with anything, not even a birthday card. They just paid you $2,000 to $3,000 for some type of dental procedure, and maybe you don't even know their birthdays. How about that one? You don't know their birthdays. They just dropped, $2, $3, $4, $5,000 on you, and you're the dentist for the entire family, and you haven't sent them anything. Well, now you can't. You can send them a digital link with your business. Say, hey, from now on, I'm gonna start sending you things about my dental practice, my law firm, my plastic surgery center, my plumbing business, my floor tiling business, my roofing company, so I can stay in touch, so you can see what I'm doing. And now that current client of the County Canvas subscriber is now getting something, and that digital link lasts for a long time. I can't say forever, but it lasts a long time. So just the economic value for the digital magazine version is high. You can send that link out for the next year or two. As long as that link is available, you can say, oh, I got 10 new customers. Let me send them this magazine link where my business is featured. And when the businesses are featured, you can talk about yourself. You can talk about how you became a dentist or an attorney or a CPA. You can talk about what college you went to. You can talk about some of the biggest things that you work on. You can put a QR code in the magazine, in the digital and the paper magazine. You can put in the digital magazine a Facebook link, a TikTok link, whatever you want to put in there, to a YouTube link. to really promote your business in the digital version. How does that sound so far, Jaylene?
I think it sounds like a solution for the prospect that's long term,
Hmm.
um, where they don't have to wrap their reins around the newest trend and hire someone exclusively to constantly post, but more so having a personal interaction with other business owners in the area that are small businesses. It makes the process like a lot easier on their end. That's where I see the value as a business owner.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So you don't have to worry about, and I know there's social media people, there's a lot of people that like social media, but
Hmm.
if you post something and you go, man, that was a great post. I invested, $400 into this social media project, and it goes out, and there's a lot of things going on with social media about SEO and paid ads and all that kind of stuff. And some guy in Indonesia says, "Hey, I like your cosmetic surgery practice." And I go, "Oh, great." You look at the person, they're an 18-year-old surfer. Oh, that was the best ad ever. But that person's not going to be converted into some prospect, not unless he knows somebody in Lincoln, Nebraska, who needs a tummy tuck or something. So I'm being with a little bit of comedy and humor, but the bottom line is business owners need to tighten that return on
Hmm.
their investment. They need to say, I spent this much. These people are getting the magazine either digitally or the paper copy. How can I measure it? See, that's the key. How can you measure what has happened? Which takes me to the third point, marketing. And there's that word I don't necessarily like, but I had to use it. Marketing and advertising have always had return on investment concerns, ROI, meaning business owners have historically received poor to no ROI, just like that CPA guy I told you about that spent $20,000. And this guy's in Tampa, Florida. He spent $20,000 before he met me, and he did not get one sale, not even a
Hmm.
phone call. So,
Um,
it, yeah, that hurt. I know it hurt him. So, depending on the business owner, product, or service, the
mhm.
break even point, which is when the sales from the quarterly subscription equals the quarterly investment in the quarterly subscription investment. So like one or two sales in a quarter will pay for the subscription. One to two sales. That's if it happens in the first 90 days. Suppose that person only advertises one quarter. Maybe the sale comes in the third or fourth quarter. So it's something that you can measure. And I'll just tell you this from as a former corporate executive, measurement is the key. If you can't measure it, like if you can't measure what you spent, like if you can't measure the result after you spent the money, it's not a good investment. In fact, in the corporate world, if something starts out quote unquote as an investment, but it ends up not bringing any business, we recharacterize that term as an expense. It's
Mm.
not an investment unless it makes money. If at least it
Right.
does something, like makes the phone ring. It makes the phone ring, makes people call you. It generates activity. So if it doesn't generate any activity, then it's not an investment. It was an expense, and
Mm.
that's not good. So um, so the questions to ask prospects. Let's say we're talking about the county canvas, and this is just like an example. This is not the real way that we do business, but this is just an example to incorporate the first part of the episode with this part dealing with the county canvas. Again, use only open-ended questions. Never use the word market. when communicating to prospects. Um, and the County Canvas project is mostly a business development activity. So what that means is that we're not talking about if you spend this dollar, you'll get this. Business development sometimes has a longer window. It could be you can get a sale within the first month, but it also means it might be the third month. But here's the thing, it must be able to be measured. It must be measured. And so the first question I would ask someone who is a county canvas prospect is, how often do you communicate with your current clients about your company's products and services? That's a fair question. You might get never. You might get once a year during the holidays. Okay. So yeah, so all of a sudden, if it's never or once a year, already there's going to be economic value to have a high-end, like glossy magazine, not like a like low ream paper, like 70 brightness paper you get for like $2 a ream at the Dollar General. No, this is a high-end magazine. The second question is, how many new contacts do you make or engage every month? Okay, so that's like asking the business owner, how many new people do you come in contact with every month for your business? And I can tell you right now, a lot of times that's pretty much close to zero. Number three, what methods are you currently using to add new clients? Well, if there's no method, if there's no new clients coming in being engaged every month, there's probably not a good method to engage new prospects or contacts. Number four, what results? Think measure. Are you getting both good and not so good? And I need to note that prospects must determine and communicate if they are happy with their results. Again, this is one of those probing questions. If a prospect says, "Oh, I get 2 calls every month and I'm happy," can't argue with them. If they think 2 calls every month from their current, business development activity is great, you just have to write that down and move on to the next question. Maybe they'll circle back and go, "Hey, you know what, Jaylene? 2 is not good, is it?" And you go, "Well, 2. Are you happy with 2?" The person's probably going to say, "No, I'm not happy with 2." So during this interview phase, we must not judge the prospects, how they feel about their results. We cannot judge this during the interview. We have unfortunately become pushy salespeople if we do judge. If we say, "Hey man, 2 is not good at all, you need 10," all of a sudden we've taken it away from the business owner deciding himself or herself that the County Canvas magazine is good, and we've inserted ourselves into the buy decision, which is it can be seen as pushy. So the next question, number 5, what would you estimate your return on investment to be using your current business development strategy? Now, this one right here, this is a powerful question. If the person knows how to calculate ROI, then you're dealing with someone who's pretty savvy. If they can say, "Well, I spent $20,000, on this project, and I got back, 4 sales times $3,000. That's 12 divided by the investment." But I can tell you this: most business owners have not calculated their ROI, because a lot of times they're missing pieces. They're missing how many. They're missing the activity of contacting people. So ROI, return on investment, has a lot of not a lot, but it has some components. If you've never contacted anybody, then it's going to be hard to gauge, how much did you spend on it. And if you got a sale and you've never marketed for that sale, let's say it came in through a referral, or let's say someone just drove by and saw your office. I mean, that's kind of you can't measure that. You can't measure how effective your street sign is. I mean, not unless it's happening on a regular basis. One day out of 365, you can't count that. That's not measurable. So it's going to be easier with the County Canvas magazine to measure return on investment because we know how much they're spending every quarter, and we also can hear if they've gotten calls and if they've closed any business. And if they say, I would like to subscribe for the next quarter, that's a sign that they were happy with the results from the first quarter. So I also have like a image that shows return on investment. ROI equals the profit, and that's the top, that's the numerator. That's the revenue minus the cost of the investment, that's the top. And then the bottom is the cost of the investment. And I gave a really easy example. Let's say if the County Canvas quarterly subscription results in $10,000 in additional sales, and let's say the cost of investment per quarter is $1,800, then the return on investment is $10,000, which is the revenue, minus $1,800, which is the profit, divided by $1,800, and that gives you, and then times 100 is 455. And that 455 is not a dollar amount, it's a ratio. It basically means $455 is made for every $100 investment. And that's good. If you can spend $100 and generate $455 every time you spend $100, that's a great investment. And sometimes it can be even more. Let's say the referrals come in from the magazine. Well, you didn't pay any additional money for the referral that was generated from the magazine. So that means that $1,800 is fixed, and the revenue can continue going up. So instead of $455, it could be $755 for a $100 investment. It could be $1,000, $1,500 for the $100 investment. So that's how the ROI works. So, and then the final part, and this is how 321 Biz Development can help small business owners that are County Canvas subscribers. What is the percentage of converting incoming calls about products and services to appointments and or sales? So let's say the person, has a County Canvas subscription per quarter, and the phones start ringing, and Mike or Millie answers the phone, and they're shaking. Oh yes, this is ABC Plumbing, and yeah, I just saw the magazine. I just got the magazine, and I saw the plumbing company in it. How can I find out more about your service? Well, if that person's not trained to answer that call correctly, that caller could hang up and not become a client. So we also help small business owners with that aspect of it. How to, have the highest probability that incoming calls will be converted from contacts on the call to appointments, and then from appointments to closes, so that plumber or lawyer or that dentist can say, wow, someone called, and let's say 65% of the people that called as a result of the County Canvas magazine became new patients. And with that said, that's really what business development's all about. That's the short version. 321 BizDev, we do have a 6-hour class that just puts in adds all the details to what I talked about for the last probably 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Let's see, what time was that? For about probably about an hour. So Jaylene, what did you think about that?
It's an hour and 4 minutes. I think it's really exciting. I think it makes the process. I just think it makes the process fun. It doesn't feel like a job. It just feels like you're building a relationship with people long term, and hoping that they essentially stick together and help each other out. for as long as you possibly can. You don't want to have any burnt bridges. You don't want to feel like they wasted their time. You don't want them to regret their decision. You just want to present that you're here to bring value, and in return, they also bring value into your life, because then that helps, your business grow as well.
See, and that was well said. And I know you didn't write that down and just read it off to me because I know how you think. I know how you think. You're a very you have very organized thoughts. I'll just put it that way. And I also want to add to close is in the few short weeks we will have a digital networking group where business owners can call up 4 times a week, like Monday and Wednesday, either for West Coast, East Coast, and on Friday from the East Coast and the West Coast, and just talk about their business, just like they would in some of these traditional networking groups where people pay $200 to $300 to get in, and then they pay maybe $75 or $100 a month to meet, drive 50 miles round trip, sit and drink coffee, and have 2 minutes to talk about their business. And let's say the dentist gets up and says, yes, I'm Joe the dentist, and yes, and my dental practice is located in Pembroke Pines, and thank you, that's all I got to say. And then that dentist is wondering if the people in the group will refer new patients to the dental practice. And I can tell you right now, that process is not as productive as people think. And I think people who have been to traditional networking groups, I'm not going to mention the names, but they will tell you that these groups are not that productive, and there's many reasons why. And that's why our activity with 321 Biz Development will motivate, will stir activity, because people will now know what it means to prospect someone and do it with professionalism and refer business professionally, instead of, hey man, please call this guy, he needs a root canal. And so the dentist calls the person who was referred. So they call the person, ring ring ring, hey, this is Dr. Alvarez. Mike said you needed to talk about a root canal. Mike, man, I just met Mike 5 minutes. I talked to Mike for 5 minutes. He gave me he gave you my number. I didn't even tell him that I needed to work with I already have a dentist. See, that kind of stuff is not good. That's no bueno. Okay, that is not good. So anyway, our next session will be, I would say, probably Monday. We're going to go live, and by then I should have some business owners to call in for the digital networking session, and then Jaylene, you and I will talk offline about how to get the county canvas started in the cities that you have selected. And so do you have any closing comments?
As far as closing comments is, I'm excited. I'm excited to have more freedom in my life. To not have to worry about, clocking in at a certain time and making sure that the boss is happy at the end of the day. I'm going to be my own boss, and I'm going to be in a position where I can help people. Have a successful business in the best way that they can, and to build a relationship as well to the people in their community. Because I think that's lacking in a lot of business owners, is where they don't have any relationship with the people in their community. So nobody really becomes interested in taking on their business and becoming a client. For example, whether you're a doctor or a lawyer, it's that interpersonal skill that people are looking for, and that humanity that we all strive and want to have.
All right. Do you want to say something similar to what you just said in Spanish?
Um, bueno, la manera es que yo estoy muy entusiasmada en empezar en ser mi misma jefa, no tener una jefa controlando lo que yo estoy haciendo y ayudar a los negocios en la área localmente, tener relaciones personales con las personas en su comunidad, porque hay muchos negocios, por ejemplo, que no tienen relaciones con las personas de la comunidad y las personas no se sienten como un doctor o un abogado, se sienten como si no le importan de ellos. Y lo que las personas quieren sentirse con cualquier negocio es sentirse que tiene valor como un humano y que su vida es importante. Eso es algo que yo quiero ser parte de, hacer parte de un negocio que le importa la humanidad de las personas.
All right. Thank you, and gracias to you. Gracias for that information. So I want to thank you for being on this first call, and we will have more calls, and we will have uh, you interact with on the podcast episodes with your mother as we talk about Medicare there in Florida. So take care and make it a great day.